What's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fortis After Hours podcast. I'm your co-host, Nate, joined by Toby and my wife, Liz.
Hey.
We have an awesome episode planned for you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking about technique and how it plays such an important part in strength.
Very important.
It's also very important if you want to look jacked as well. So if you're trying to build muscle or you're trying to get stronger, because those two overlap, they are two different kind of main goals. But either one requires a certain amount of technique to get the most out of the work that you're putting in. The last thing you want to do is be in the gym just putting in hours and hours and hours of work with poor technique and end up injured or end up with maybe the results that you weren't looking for.
Minimal progress.
Yeah, minimal progress. That would be not a great time. So today we're talking about the role that technique plays in your training and why you should pay attention to it.
It is very important. We're big.
Yeah.
If we don't coach you, there we go.
You gotta just hang with Liz. She's had a very busy week, y'all.
I didn't
Earlier,
sleep for a whole
she didn't
night.
sleep for an entire night.
It was wild.
So you just gotta give her grace.
It was wild.
She's out here doing the podcast for you guys because she's a G like that. So she's here for you.
Anyways, if you do work with us, you know that we are big on technique. That is kind of something that we are extremely adamant on when we coach all of our lifters. So if you don't work with us, now you know we are very big on technique.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time making sure that people are moving good, lifting good, feeling good. Hi, buddy. As part of their training, and I would say we're both big on the technique comes first, and then like the weight and things come second.
Yeah, I would agree, because I think the thing is, when you master technique, whether it's for powerlifting, Olympic lifting, or just like general fitness, then you can kind of just continue to add weight. Like, of course, you need to build strength. It's not like an infinite adding of the weight. Oh man. All right, buddy. All right. We got a busy afternoon here at the Fortis parking lot.
Yeah.
With someone with some really loud music.
There's this food truck. It's called the Juice Caboose. It just pulled up next door, and ever since they pulled up, there's been this really loud bass that we can hear inside the gym, and I think it's from the Juice Caboose.
You're gonna go file a complaint?
No, I just am confused why the Juice Caboose needs such loud music.
That is true. But sometimes maybe the Dollar General would think that way about our gym.
That's fair.
Because we do be hitting it pretty loud sometimes. Exactly, Toby. Okay, all right. There we go. So anyways, but yeah, with the technique mastered, you really can kind of like, so to speak, infinitely scale. I'm not, obviously not forever, but like, you can kind of infinitely scale. If you don't have good technique though, and your technique has some maybe major holes or flaws or inefficiencies, you're either gonna end up getting hurt or you're gonna end up stalling in progress. The progress is just not gonna be made. And shoring up that technique can help a lot more than I think people think.
Yeah, it's always super interesting to see like when people who maybe haven't been training with the best technique all of a sudden either fix their technique or get a different coach who focuses more on technique or does something with their technique, and then all of a sudden, quote unquote, all of a sudden, they get like magically stronger or way stronger or something like that. But really, they had the strength. Like sometimes like the strength is already there, but if your technique is not optimal, it's very hard to express the strength that you have built too.
Yes, agreed. And if, there's some people maybe watching this, see, Liz has always been very good on her technique. I will say that since day one of lifting. And I think that's just because Liz likes rules and directions.
I do like to follow the directions.
Yeah, she's like, well, this is just how it needs to be done.
Correct.
And as such, she has experienced very few injuries over her powerlifting career thus far.
They've been fairly minor, knock on wood.
Yeah,
thankfully.
Knock on wood, yeah, like maybe a few injuries here and there, but they've been, I would say all of them could be classified as minor to intermediate, like nothing.
I would say most are probably pretty
minor.
Yeah,
so little tweaks. Now
mentally were they minor? Maybe not, but like in the actual
physical
that's realm of injuries, they were all very minor.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like I think, and yeah, just to point out, she's like, it's not like her journey's been absolutely perfect. Like you guys know, like she has struggled with other things, related to like mental health, things like that. Now, for me, on the other hand,
what is
I will tell you right now, my
technique?
strengths.
Never heard of her.
My strength, like mentally overall, like I have been able to do pretty well. But the technique situation and then the injuries that have come from that, we'll put that at a very low on the scale of, is Nate good at this? No, I'm not. So now,
a lot better.
I was gonna say, so over the years, because like I'm just gonna send it basically, and I've been doing that since I was like super young in the gym.
A little bit of bro lifter still in you.
Yeah. I had a pretty severe back injury and herniated some discs when I was literally like only 18, 19, in my lower back and my cervical spine and my neck. All of that just because I was foolish and ignored technique and forced things to move. And my point being, there is a time and place for that. It can be helpful if paired with good quality technique, which is what you're seeing now. That's the reason. Good technique is the reason why I was able to, in 1 year, go from squatting 500 after coming back from an injury to squatting 584 pounds easily, and then continuing to build on that. It's the reason I have been able to get, I think, as strong as I've been able to get in my early 30s, and it is the only way I will be able to continue on making progress, I would say, at my age, basically. Because I still think I have plenty of years left of top end strength, but without technique, I think that would be cut down to months, a year, I don't know. So my point is, technique has played a huge role in me getting as strong as I've been able to get, because I really do not think without my technique being spot on, I would be able to achieve any of that.
Now, I feel like with saying all of this, though, while technique is extremely important, there are some people who can get so caught up in their technique that then they become, paralysis by overanalysis, basically, to where they are so focused on nitpicking every little piece of, especially their heavy lifts. That then they cannot make the progress because they are overanalyzing the technique of, because when you lift heavier, some things will break down. That's just going to happen. That's not necessarily detrimental to your training though. Sometimes when you're pushing the weight, especially in powerlifting, obviously you're pushing the weight. This also can happen in general fitness, even if you're not as much pushing the weight, it can still happen. And it's good to maybe notice those things, but not let them prevent you from
I gotta
lifting
stop.
heavy. Notice them and then learn from them and then focus on fixing that technique, because the more you can focus on that with the lighter weights, which I think we'll probably be talking about here shortly, the farther through, the farther up in weight you'll be able to maintain the technique without it breaking down. Yeah,
and I think a couple other things on that, number one, your technique's gonna look different from person to person. That's where having a coach that is experienced is super helpful, because at this point in my career, I have literally watched hundreds of people squat, with my own eyes in real life. Hundreds of people bench press, hundreds of people deadlift, bicep curl, whatever, put in exercise. I've watched it.
Everyone looks different.
And exactly, everyone looks slightly different. Now there's some, key technical things for each movement, I'd say, in the gym that you wanna, make sure that you're adhering to. I'm not going to go over those. That would take forever. But aside from that, you need to be very open-minded as a coach to understand your lifter, listen to them. Okay, in theory, this should feel better, but this feels better. Okay, well, if it's a, slight mutation, so to speak, of the correct form, but it feels way better, what do you think is the right answer? You know what I mean? It's and I think sometimes even coaches can get a little stuck, paralysis. Oh, well, this needs to happen. It's and I'm not saying you want sloppy form, of course. I just spent the first 10 minutes talking about that. But what I am saying, and just agreeing with Liz, is there will be some times where it breaks down, and you might be working on something as a coach. So when you're lifting with your peers, I encourage you to focus on you and it being encouraging in general. I think sometimes you can get caught up in hey, I'm squatting this way, you should be squatting this way. It's like, oh man, like, and you don't know what that coach and athlete are working on together because, as a coach, the last thing that I want to do is cause paralysis by analysis. Hey, Liz, that was a nice squat, but you need to go a little wider, point your toes out, make sure you're bracing better, make sure your upper back is tighter, and then also make sure you're looking up. It's like, that's like, to the lifter, that's so overwhelming. You're like, because you think, as a lifter, you're like, okay, I came up with it. That was great. And then your coach is like, and you're just like.
I mean, that, or even like, so that where they're like, whatever, giving so many things, or there's sometimes where like, it'll be a heavy squat or whatever. And like, maybe there's like, I know when I squat heavy, like sometimes my knees will like jiggle a little bit, like in and out, like not like super bad, but there's some like movement in my knees. Like that's
oscillation.
That's just what happens when I squat heavy. Like, especially if my core is lacking during that day. Like I just know that that's going to happen. And if you like as my coach were to look at that and be like, your knees moved a centimeter in and then back out, like we can't go up anymore in weight because of that. Like fix that. Like that would kind of ruin, like the momentum would ruin my progress because like that's just what my knees do on certain days. Now it's not every day, and like some days are worse than others, like I understand that. But it's also something that happens as the weight gets heavier.
Yes.
But it's not something that, is so detrimental to my squats. Like it doesn't hurt. They don't like completely collapse. Like they're just working. Like my legs are just working essentially. And if you, or like for like someone else, like saw just like this teeny tiny like microscopic thing, and then as a coach, you're always pointing that out, then that makes it hard for the lifter to also, because then they're going to focus on that and be scared to push the weight or to like continue trying. So I feel like it's like both ends. Like if you overanalyze by giving like 500 different things for them to work on, or just nitpicking like one teeny tiny thing that like maybe broke down a little bit on like one top set. Now, if it's like extreme or if it's like dangerous, of course that's different. But like a slight movement or a slight elbow flare in the bench, like slight, like sometimes like that's just.
Yeah, it's just how it happens. And like you said, at top end weight, we can expect, actually as a coach, I'm going to expect some sort of breakdown to happen, especially in the 95% and above range, and even 90%. Like if you're doing reps and like 90%, something's not absolutely like perfect. I mean, I'm not worried about that. And I think some coaches do, like they overanalyze. It's like, look, like you want to make sure your athlete feels one thing when you're getting in that weight range, and that is confidence. You want them to be confident going into it. You want them to be confident during it. And that's not the time and place to be fixing these things. That comes when the weight is lighter. And that's the main thing I wanted to talk about today because, I think it's super important when you're doing backdowns, when you're doing warmups, when you're doing accessory movements, to really focus on your technique, focus on the technical changes or change that your coach is trying to get you to make with the lighter weight, because twofold. One, it's safer, much safer. When you're in that heavier weight, you do not want to be introducing new ideas, new things, when all your lifter really should be thinking about is like, get up, or, finish the lift, finish the deadlift, pull it up, something like this. They don't need to be thinking about other things like on their mind. Now, of course, if this is something like Liz said, like detrimental, dangerous, then I mean, maybe they're just not doing that top set is really the answer. Like I don't think as a experienced coach, like I just wouldn't send them into the fray type thing. I'd be like, we'll do this another day. Like something's off. Yeah. We've done that before. I'll do it again. But like I think there's this time and place to work on technique. And it's just overlooked a lot in like modern powerlifting, because I just think people like they just get into the it's 3 sets of 10, here I go, and just start doing it, and I hate my life and blah blah blah. But what you need to be thinking about is, instead of it's 3 sets of 10, this is terrible. Okay, 3 sets of 10, that's 30 reps. That's 30 opportunities to get better. 30 in like the span of not that long. Like I don't know, 3 sets of 10 should take you 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
It shouldn't take that long.
I was being generous.
Oh.
I was going to say like 15. But
yeah,
whatever. Coach Liz says 15.
I mean, I guess it depends if you're like working in with other people. Like,
are you doing 3 sets of 10 in 15 minutes?
I mean, that would be one set, because like you can definitely do 10 reps in a minute.
Yeah.
And then that gives you like 4 minutes of resting.
I mean,
4 to 5
I
minutes
agree.
of
I'm just being
resting.
generous. Whatever.
I feel like you could definitely do that in 15 minutes.
The point is, y'all, it's a set amount of time. It's not that much time as far as like a sacrifice is what I'm trying to get at, right? Like it's not that much time with huge payoffs is the point that I'm trying to make. Because when you are ingraining that technique, and again, this is something, near and dear to my heart because I was bad at it. Like I was not good at it. For the longest time, I'd hit that top weight or top set, whatever it is, and then I'm like, done. And then like whatever it was on the back downs, I would get it done. It's not like I wasn't doing it. Oh, don't worry. Like they were getting done, but I definitely was not, I was not focusing whatsoever on my technique. And I'd do all this crazy reps and that would indicate, if you just put it into a calculator online or something, it would indicate this massive 1 rep max. But the big thing that I was missing was the technical prowess and the technical ability and the neuromuscular connection to move my body in space under heavy load. And the reason why I was missing it is because all those times, instead of practicing that technique, I was practicing shit technique or like slightly worse technique, whatever, or the technique that would not work under like 90% above type load. And then when I would get there every time, I'd have almost a confidence, like I'm like, I'm gonna smoke this. And then it breaks down.
Yeah.
And then same thing, I like work back up, I'm gonna smoke this, and then breaks down. And it was not until, you guys, I started locking in on those accessories, on the back downs, and then any accessory that mimicked like a barbell movement, like
I think the
full range of
too,
motion,
like making sure the
and my
warm-ups
warm-ups.
are like...
It was only when I started doing that I started making massive progress.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One of my favorite things to see is like on the higher rep sets of like when I'm coaching, like watching like videos and stuff, is like every rep just looks the same.
Yep.
And that's like key. And like I'll
proud coach moment.
I'll like say that to people, like every rep looks the same. Like that's exactly what we want, because that means like your technique is dialed in, like it's looking good, it's smooth, like every rep is mimicking what a top set should look like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think that there's a time and place for just putting in work, and I'm not saying that every single day is going to be like this, perfect reps every single time. But more what I'm arguing is just saying that is a time where you need to implement the changes that your coach wants you to make. That you need to implement maybe something that you feel might help you out. This is the time to do it, not the top sets. The top sets is the time to turn the brain off and just lift. You're not thinking about anything. And the lifters that can do that are going to always outperform the lifters that are thinking about like the one like meme from The Hangover with the guy like all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I'll put it in the YouTube video.
I got it. It took me a second, but I got it.
Like, if you're going up to a bar like that, it's not going to be great.
Yeah, you need to like think about all the cues, clear your brain, and just lift.
And then, a big thing that I have for my Olympic lifting athletes, because that is such a fluid motion, is I literally like take a deep breath before you hit your top single, because like it just clears your brain. Powerlifting the same way.
I always take a deep breath before I lift.
I mean, I'll be honest, I did, before I hit that 595 squat, I like, got myself high, did my thing, like Liz said, and like thought about my cues. But then I walked out there's like a little walk, whatever. I walked out there, tightened the belt, got under it, and I literally like, right before I lifted up, I just said, you can do this. And I just took a deep breath and like squatted it, smoked it. And like, I just think there's something behind purest form of like mental clarity and focus that is far like outweighs any type of like cue or something you could be thinking when you're at this like top load.
And then if it does break down at the top end, that's okay, because you know what to work on in your back downs. You know what to focus on in your warm-ups the next time, in your back downs, in your accessories. Your coach might then start, like if they notice a trend of like continuous like weak points basically, or breakdowns, like some of the variations they might give you or some of the accessories they might give you might start to help build that up, even without you knowing that's what they're doing. Like, because coaches will do a lot of things that you maybe don't necessarily know that they're doing. And so having like certain variations or certain accessories or things like that, like those are things to help build that up. But then also, like, if you notice as a lifter, rather than like being so discouraged, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my knees wobbled, or I can't believe my brace came a little looser, like whatever, like, okay, like, is it ideal? No. Did it happen? Yes. Okay, great. Now focus on that during your back downs and make that part like perfect.
Yeah.
Or as perfect as you can.
Yeah. No,
for that day.
Yeah, and I think that's it, because when you do that, then you're developing like basically a very strong mind-muscle connection. You're also developing just straight muscle memory. Your body is going to literally remember where you were in space with the barbell without you even thinking. And that is where you want to get to. And I think that's like a kind of like lost topic for like more like, we'll say beginner to intermediate like athletes.
Well, because people just care about how much weight they're lifting.
Exactly. And I think this is like a pretty like high level thing. Like a lot of like top level athletes are already doing this, but that's because they've maxed out everything else. And the pro tip, you can, if you do this when you're not as strong as, let's say, like a top level athlete, it will help you get stronger to that top level athlete like phase a lot quicker. Or maybe help you reach something that you weren't able to even reach unless you were employing these technical, no pun intended,
well, I think
changes.
Part of it is just social media and the world today. It's all just like, what's flashy, what's cool, what's big numbers, what gets likes, what gets attention.
Yeah.
And doing super technical work and reps and back downs and variations and things like that, nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
But that is where you're going to get stronger. That is where you are going to make progress. That is where that's where your PRs are going to happen.
Yes.
For like,
that's where they're being built.
Yes, yeah.
That's where your PRs are being built.
Yes, is that.
PRs are not happening in the back downs.
Well, no.
Well, maybe.
They might be. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I got you.
The brain's sort of going. But like the work that you're doing there will lead to the PRs on the platform.
Absolutely.
But if you're not doing that, then it's gonna make it a lot harder to like continue to progress.
And
I just think that's super overlooked, especially with like whatever social media and what's flashy 100%. And cool.
And like I said, you guys, I'm using myself as the bad example, so to speak, whatever. Like this is my personal weakness that I've worked on over the years. And like if it wasn't for Liz, like kind of taking over my coaching and really helping me dial in on this technique to like next level, because I've always had like decent technique. Because like I got hurt enough multiple times over and over when I was younger to where I used to be the opposite. I was like technique, like analysis by paralysis type person. And then basically I don't know, at some point in my lifting career, I've been doing this a long time, but like at some point I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start like lifting and whatever, like I'm just gonna keep going. And that kind of worked, ego lifting, and that kind of worked for like a while, because like my technique was never like really bad. It was just like those people I feel like are the hardest. It's
where
tricky.
Like it's
tricky.
Not bad. Like your technique isn't like really bad or really awful, or like someone doesn't look at it and doesn't go, oh, like, wow. Because like there are some people I watch that I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, and those people I feel like it's easier. But it's the people kind of like in the middle ground where like their technique isn't great, but it's also not terrible. And like they're still getting the lifts and like maybe making like a little bit of progress. Like especially like if you're a newer lifter, you're still gonna make progress. So I feel like those are definitely the hardest people.
I agree.
And even like as a coach, like there's stuff that like I might see, but it's very hard sometimes to convince the lifter that they need to change, because they're like, well, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
No, I mean that's conversations me and you have already had before, where like Liz would be like, well, this is slightly off. I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. And I said that for a long time. So again, I'm using myself as a bad example here, you guys. Just trust me. Like the amount of progress that I have been able to make by really locking in on my back downs and really focusing on the technique and whatever changes Liz wants me to make here and there on the technique, I'm telling you, that is gonna put you on the map with your PRs, making sure you're hitting bigger PRs, the biggest weights you've been able to hit. It's just gonna help you out with the technical changes. When you got that technique locked in, you will be firing on those top sets. Just today, I did tempo squats on the way up, which is one of my least favorite things, but I'm gonna tell you right now.
So good.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna tell you right now, this exercise is definitely one that helped me get to the near 600 squat at 595. And after today, I definitely think this will help me break past that barrier, just because of the awareness, the kinesthetic awareness that it gives me, where I'm like, oh, okay, like it just forces you to be in this position, this good position. And I do have to say, like I started this exercise at 3 reps, because Liz said it was going to be you need to be very light. He said, very light. And I just did 3 reds because I was like, I don't know. I just was like, I can do this. And I just basically was being lazy. I don't want to figure out some other smaller number because this is relevant because last time I did this, which actually has been a while, I was like kind of barely maybe making it up to 3 reds, maybe, but I was more doing like in the lower 300s because this is just such a hard variation for me because it takes away, I get a lot of like power from
like the rebound.
Yeah, I get a lot of, like Liz is a very controlled squat down, drive up. I'm like control enough, but I also get some good momentum, which like we've learned is how I squat. Like I can squat well and use it to my advantage.
Which is fine, that's how some people squat.
However, when you take that out, it greatly diminishes my like top end. But needless to say, started at 3 reps and it felt great. Like didn't really feel too challenging. I'm like, okay, I made some progress. Like I'll be able to push this and I think that'll really help me get to the next level. So yeah. Technique. It's all about the technique, you guys.
Big fan.
Yeah, we're big fans of technique at Fortis, like I said.
And I will say, it always makes me so proud. Anytime we go to meets, like everyone always comments like, at like whatever, all the meets, everyone's like, oh, your lifters always move so good. They look so good. I'm like, I know.
Yes. Yes.
Makes me very proud. A very proud coach.
Yes, I agree. And you know, at the end of the day, you guys, it's just going to help you stay in the game longer. That's another thing. Longevity. There's no way. And there was a time when I was so broken from multiple injuries with slight technical errors that ended up causing it, where I was like, I don't even know if I can keep powerlifting. Like, I'll always keep lifting weights, as we've talked about before. But there's actually probably a couple podcasts where I talked about that. And I would say single-handedly, the technical changes that I made on not my top sets, so like on basically everything but my top sets, is what has kept me in the game, and I'm literally the strongest I've ever been. That is because of technique.
And I feel like, while obviously we related this a lot to powerlifting, this also relates to really anything. Any general fitness, any strength building, bodybuilding, like any person who is lifting weights, I feel like this applies to.
100%.
Because no matter what you're doing or what your goals are, the better your technique is, the better the results are going to be, and like the better your progress is going to be.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're a crazy person like me and you just want to get after it and not think about technique, pro tip, focus on the technique when it's boring, and then when you do get to the top, you don't have to. And then you can just do your thing. So that's the other thing for the people, because I know there's other people like me that just want to get after it. That's cool. Like, I get it. But trust, like, in the technique and trust in your coach. And then when you get to go, like, they, you know, let you off the leash, so to speak, you just get to go, that technique's going to be there for you. If you don't put in those reps, log those hours, you know, get your 10,000 reps, so to speak, in when it's lighter, then how in the world can you expect it to be there when you call upon it at a PR?
It's not.
Yeah, it's not going to be there. So yeah, I think that does it. It was a good episode.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Anytime.
even when you're a little tired.
A little bit.
The people appreciate it.
Little bit.
Yeah. All right.
I took a red-eye flight.
Liz took a red-eye flight.
It was crazy.
Closed out our nationals season for the year.
It was a great nationals, but a red-eye flight was wild. Never in my life have I done that before.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
But Liz did a great job, and so did her client, Lolly. She absolutely demolished it.
She did.
We posted a full recap for her, so you can check that out on Instagram or YouTube. And, one last thing. I have a new goal on YouTube. We hit our 500 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. New goal. We need 3,000 watch hours.
So many hours.
We can do it as a community. I've mathed it out. So if you guys are listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, delete the app for the foreseeable future. And I need you to log into your YouTube and watch it on there. And even if, even if you're, Nate, I don't like watching, okay, that's cool. Just put it on and then YouTube plays in the background, y'all. You can like swipe up on your iPhone and it'll just play in the background. And that's gonna help us out. You guys can do it. Okay. You got us to 500 subscribers way quicker than I thought, so you can do it. All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening and go crush it out there. Keep redefining strong. Peace.
Bye.